Okay, I'm here at the Raleigh Convention 2019 AAW Symposium, and I'm here with Scott Grove. He's the owner and founder of EasyInlay, and you know me, I'm big into inlay, lots and lots of inlay in my pieces, and so I just had to get Scott up here to tell us about his product line, because his product line is perfect for you guys and gals who want to get started into inlay without a big investment, okay? So I'm going to ask him a couple of questions here, and then I'm going to let him talk about his product, and you'll find this real interesting. Okay, what's your background, Scott?
Oh, well, I'm a third-generation artist. That's all I've ever known. Primarily a sculptor. I got into sculpture, and from there it sort of developed into furniture, sculptural furniture. And from there, I fell in love with veneer, actually highly figured veneer.
Yeah, I've seen your veneer stuff. Yeah. Man, that's awesome.
Thank you. So I just love materials that make you go, wow, okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, and it just so happened that veneer is what was the first material that really gave me that wow factor. And from there, I became, somewhat known. I've developed a number of techniques. I teach across the country. I also head up the Chippendale School of Furniture veneer program in Scotland. And I also then started teaching inlay, which is an obvious transition. And besides just wood inlay, I then started looking into other materials. And that then naturally brought me to minerals and gems and shell, power shell and mother of pearl. And those are also materials that just make me go, wow.
Yeah, that's what I like too.
Yeah.
People come in and say, wow, how'd you do that?
Exactly, and it's a level of detail. A piece of work should draw you in, and every time you get closer, you should see some more information and draw you in closer, and inlay does that. So you might see a beautiful piece of wood from a distance, you want to get closer, and then you see the inlay, and then next thing you know, you got to touch the piece, and you got to be 6 inches away, and wow, what is that inlay? And that's really how it all started.
That's great. You mentioned you were a third generation artist. Do you have to be an artist to get into this inlay stuff?
You don't. No, not at all. In fact, one of the things that I teach is techniques and processes for anybody. Hence, easy inlay. Granted, traditional inlay can be tedious and take a lot of time and a lot of skill, and that's frustrating, and that can put people off. So, and quite frankly, I don't have time to spend on a lot of inlay also. So I like things that are easy, and the material that we sell, one is crushed material, so you don't have to cut out a shape and cut a pocket to fill it in. You can just cut a pocket or have a groove, or even use a natural void like a knot or a crack. Mm-hmm. And then you just rub this in, and with CA glue or cyanacrylate glue, you can seal it in, or you can mix it with epoxy, and it's real easy. In addition, the materials that we select have a Mohs hardness, are soft enough that will sand at the same rate as wood.
Yeah, I know that's important.
A lot of people have probably seen turquoise, right? I mean, it's a little southwestern for my taste, but it looks good. The problem is it has a Mohs hardness of 6. So just to recap, Mohs hardness is a hardness scale of mineral. Talc is a 1, diamond is a 10, and it's exponential. Mm-hmm. Wood is about a 4, just generally speaking. So if you use turquoise, it doesn't sand at the same rate and can be very difficult to work with.
Exactly.
Where mother of pearl is a 2.5. Our opal that we sell is about a 4. We sell power shell, which is about a 3. So it all works and sands at the same rate, and that's really the key that makes it so much easier to work. It's just a no-brainer, and it's fun.
Yeah, I get a lot of people that ask me about my inlay. They ask me if I use epoxy resin to fill it in,
yeah.
and I'm always surprised that they don't realize that you can't use that. Pretty much it's easier just to use thin CA glue.
You can use CA I recommend for thin cracks, mm-hmm. CA, because CA is a little more accessible. You can go to a store, everybody has that. So you can start there. For larger voids, then I say, well, then you might want to use epoxy, but it really doesn't matter which one you use. I mean, epoxy is good for larger, thick voids, and it's a little more cost effective, but it does take, you have to mix it. Now, most epoxies are relatively easy to use. It's a 50-50 mix. But CA is really simple to use.
Yeah, I've used CA for many years, but in the past, I would say probably in the past year, I've really been interested in the epoxy resin,
Yeah.
Along with a mineral or something to put inside of it.
Right.
So you get this snow globe effect.
Yeah, and in fact, some people now are actually, so say you have a platter, what you do is you fill up a groove with epoxy. Actually, what I would do is fill it up halfway, then lay in your minerals, then fill the rest with epoxy. Then you turn or carve both sides, and now you have a translucent band, so you can actually see through it. That's why we'd be using epoxy. It's more structural, and you can create ornaments and sort of sun, I don't know what we want to call them, sun discs that you can see through. And that's really, really fun, and it's so easy to do.
Yeah, it sounds very easy.
Yeah, it is.
That's great.
Hence, EasyInlay.
That's great.
.com.
So tell me a little bit about some of you mentioned 2 or 3 of your inlay material.
Yeah.
I'm an inlay guy, but everything I've done in the past has been, crushed stone. It's been calcite and
calcite
all
is
that
usually
stuff.
where it starts.
Yeah.
And I like calcite a lot. It's very versatile. You can crush it to a real fine. You can get large, chunks, if you will. We can also dye the resin different colors. So if you want to make it look like ruby or sapphire, just a little touch of pigment will give that effect. But now to take it to another level, I like the mother of pearl because it has natural iridescence. So you get sort of that shimmer of rainbow and whatnot. We love that. And now we're introducing the crushed opal. And the crushed opal is just, fire. It's just has a real level of fire. When the light hits it, you get these flares of red and blue and green. And then, of course, the PowerShell is another element that we've done. Now, we're bringing in PowerShell from New Zealand. So PowerShell is a subset of abalone.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Abalone and PowerShell is a type of abalone.
My mother-in-law brought me some from Australia.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I've been hoarding that, waiting for just the right piece.
Right. And the colors in that are just rainbow colors, little swirl. And we've searched literally the globe far and wide to get just the right. It's all tumbled, it's pre-polished, it's jewelry grade. In fact, people are buying, they're seeing a whole jar that we're buying, and they're saying, we spend $1 for one of these pieces, and here we're selling a whole jar of this stuff. And it's great. Some of the shapes are sort of naturally formed to be bug wings. I teach inlay, and we'll do beetles and dragonflies and butterflies.
Me too.
And you use the natural shape of the shell, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, I noticed too, something really I thought was interesting is, I don't know if you started in the beginning, but you've transitioned where you sell your product on Amazon.
Yeah, it's a way of the world. We were selling directly through our website, but Amazon is convenient, and they deliver, Amazon Prime, I'm addicted too. Like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I don't have the material. I don't have time to go to the hardware store and spend 3 hours driving around the city. Amazon, it's here the next day, and I'm ready to go. So yeah, we sell through Amazon also.
That's how I found you. I was looking for some particular crushed stone, and I always go to Amazon first.
Sure.
And there you guys were.
Right.
So,
people who bought this also bought that. Yeah.
So that's how, and I looked at your website, watched some of your videos. Here we are.
There you go. Yeah, and I do have online videos, and we're continuing to produce. We have videos on our EasyInlay site, and I also have an educational site called Imagine Grove that not only covers my inlay techniques, but it's a little broader. I have a free newsletter that just talks about design for craftspeople. It's not only woodworkers, for jewelers, for anybody. I'm not a big spammer. I hate all that stuff, but I send out a newsletter once a month, and it's a very short, hey, have you thought about negative space? And I give an example, either my work or someone else's work. Just, maybe people aren't thinking about that, or consider this or that. So I try to inspire people. And I've been a professional artist all my life, so I give recommendations on business. If you want to sell in galleries or trade shows, what are the things you need to do? Because I've been in galleries all across the country. I've done all the major shows across the country, so I have a lot of experience in that, and I love sharing all the pain that I've gone through.
Is that how you got into doing the YouTubes?
Yeah, the YouTube get that. It was just sort of a natural progression. It's a great way to communicate, and Yeah, I mean, I do lecture at large venues and what have you, but it just makes it, you know, my knowledge a little more accessible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
YouTube seems to me it's the way of the future.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
That's great. Well, I really appreciate you spending some time with me here, Scott. And I'm going to come down to your booth. I'm going to shoot some B-roll of some of your stuff down there. I'm going to incorporate it in this. I'll also put down in the show notes the links that Scott mentioned, and anything else that he thinks you might be interested in will be down in the show notes. Be sure and check those out. And I hope you have a successful show.
Yeah,
I'm having a ball.
Oh, it's great. If you've never been to any of these,
never been to one.
If you've never been to these shows, these are really great. All the top vendors are here, and plus it's sort of cutting edge. Anybody has a new tool or new material, this is where it's at, and you get this, you know, you get to stay ahead of the game, if you will. And everybody's so really nice to sharing knowledge, and I learn here. I learn. Well, I never knew that, and a guy will spend 15 minutes explaining his process, and it's really a great show. So, thank you so much for having me here.
Up. Okay, appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
Have a good show.
Yep. Bye bye. Excellent.
Hey, I hope you liked that episode. If so, please say something down in the comments. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd appreciate it if you click on my picture down there and then ring the bell so that you'll be notified. And I've picked out a special video for you to watch next. It's right over there.